Ryze really climb in priority thanks to some of the changes we've just been seeing around mid lane. Wondering if that's going to be, and obviously very famous for Doinb. So now for Kati, I want to know what matchups we've been getting, because Cassio has been, I think, the go-to for countering the Ryze blind, but we also have had, I mean, just yesterday alone, we had multiple Malzahar games in this tournament.
Yeah, and at this point, you can't escape the outplay button of an R key, which is, you know, I mean, pretty easy to hit. At that point, no, but it is a little bit more nuanced than that. I do like, though, that the Vikings are setting themselves up with some facilitation from the jungle, with some just go buttons already in the draft.
I mean, just getting rid of something that Naiyou could use to get them into the lane, I think it's fine. When we're talking about what I wanted to see from the Vikings in their first series, that game one, I really didn't like that draft. I think it limited their playmaking potential. So now, not only do you have the Vi, now you also have the Aurora, who is always going to be a consistent damage threat as the game goes on. I think it's a pretty good 1-2 combo coming on through for MGN.
And giving you a lot of mobility as well. We'll see if there is going to be a little bit of finickiness in the support pickup here. It will be the Nico for NIP, so I'll be giving that one over to Niket.
Niket has a winning matchup, like he has a winning record on this Nico this year, but I just don't think it's his best champion. I really feel like Niket works best when he has those tank engaged champions, because he really likes to use his HP bar as a resource. You don't get that same luxury when you're playing Nico. So already what we're seeing from NIP, you have some decent ways of being able to move around the map with the Ryze. You have already some strong team fighting tools. Now we just need to be able to see, I think, just the damage setup. I do like the Kaisa ban coming out from the Vikings, just to try to get away from more dive tools for leave.
Yeah, for sure. I do also want to pick your brain a little bit about the Karma into the Nico. I think some of the poke can be really nice, but it is opting into kind of a poke-heavy bot lane for the Vikings.
I mean, Ezreal Karma's still up. Sorry, I should say Ezreal is banned. You still have, like, Jhin and Karma that you can kind of go with. It does also incentivize the Vikings to go for more melees. I did like the Karma angle that we saw from Shulong yesterday, so I'm okay with it. I like that you pointed it out. Again, Nico, not traditionally very tanky, so another way you can counter her in the matchup. But I'm looking at this from Vikings, and I do need to see either more of those melees like I was mentioning, or just some kind of consistent damage dealer. Corki can be something that works really well, especially into Jarvan, so...
Okay. Well, it is all ADC focus, at least as of yet, in the second phase. Really trying to whittle down those 2v2 options. Maybe take away some options from that bot lane duo of the Vikings. And we will see the Lucian ban as the final one. So I think we're probably going to sit back a little bit and get some scaling carries going here.
All right. So what else are we going to get, though? You need to be able to have range. I think it is quite interesting that they are giving Shogun counter pick.
Very interesting. Okay.
That's good, because from what I heard from Vestian is that Sulong is a guy who is going to kind of reach in his bag for some unique support picks. I'm looking at just this year alone, a lot of Pyke gameplay. There's an Annie support. Actually ended up playing Zillion as well, so you know, some more unique stuff there.
For sure, and I don't mind the Corki. I do expect that this is going to be a staple for the foreseeable future all the way till Worlds, so hey, at least we get all the action we can. It is going to be the Sivir as a response for Leave, and the Renekton as the final pickup here for NIP.
All right, so kind of saying, okay, you can't play Ambessa. You can try for Cassante, but kind of iffy on that. We saw Kratos play the Aatrox. We saw Kratos play against the Aatrox yesterday versus King into, as we know, a 2-0 there for Nongshim. And these are some more of those melees. We ended up getting an Aatrox. Now it has the Karma with the Vi. There are ways for them to poke out. Vikings have a strong first few levels here with this Corki and Karma. And in terms of priority, I kind of like what they have. The issue that I'm going to see and want to see if NIP are going to improve upon is I think that their engage is a little telegraphed, if not kind of basic. It is just Naiyou looking for these Jarvan ultimates and obviously the combo. If the Niket can land a huge Pop Blossom, that's great, but NIP need time to slow down fights, and there are a lot of ways that I could see our LCP representatives kind of go around. I've called the Grasshopper Raz Jr. because he's been going back and forth. This is the Xi'an arena for WE.
Okay,
I
nice.
was like, I recognize this a little too much.
When I got to go to Xi'an, I did not get to go to the arena. It was across the street, and they got eliminated so long before then that they had closed down. The only thing that was open was the shop, which you know was cool. But you know, hey, it's open now, and a bunch of cardboard cutouts are sitting in front of the PCs, and we're gonna be getting into things now. I think it's going to be key to see how quickly Viking Esports find their way into some advantages, find a little bit of momentum for Gury.
All right. Good early coverage coming on through. You can see that the Vikings, they put a ward to check if there was going to be a Jarvan invade early on. Also did get spotted on the Raptor wards here, so just making sure that they can try to keep eyes and information down onto Naiyou. I think that's a good start, especially because we're kind of talking about this from NIP's perspective. I know we haven't talked too much about scaling, but there are a lot of ways that I think if this game does go late, that this game gets a little difficult for the Vikings, but I'm looking at it from their perspective as well. Like, you have an Aatrox that could be very problematic this game.
Like, there's like a couple options there, but I definitely favor the side of NIP, as we're going to see the early kickoffs of the 2v2 in the bot lane, trying to at least get as much pressure as you possibly can. Both junglers can be starting on the opposite sides of the map as well, so a little bit of opposite focus there. Now with the Jarvan, there is a lot of room for some unique paths early on. I love the unique level 2 ganks that we see sometimes, but this is a champion that you should expect to see at least once in probably every series that you're going to be watching for the next 2 months.
Yeah, Jarvan very strong. There's also just a lot of AD carries right now that have not a ton of mobility.
That hate
and
Jarvan,
also,
you mean?
Look, the champion is just good. Like the fact that you have such a basic kit, also I think mostly because of Fearless. Like, if you need a simple champion, Jarvan's your guy. So did get spotted out on the Raptor wards there. We're seeing that Leave and Niket losing push versus the Corki and Karma. Not too unexpected here. And I want to see what Gury is going to be able to get done, because in my mind, what Gury needs to do is just make sure that his lanes are in a good spot, and make sure that if we are going to play with priority from a solo lane, that we have the ability to move our supports and get any kind of action done early on to get ourselves into position.
Yeah, I'd be very curious how quickly the supports want to get involved. We aren't seeing any of the lane swap-a-roonies that we have been seeing in this tournament. We're sticking in the 2v2. We saw a pretty aggressive advance from Vikings there in that last one, as they do end up getting the root down. Another Frost Bomb will hit onto Niket. Meanwhile, Naiyou going for the gank on top side, going for the dive, and they're going to be able to execute it. The flash will not be enough to save Kratos, and he will fall. Solokill gets the kill.
So he's going to get a wave there. It'll be about half a wave missed there by Kratos. There's going to be a dive coming on towards bottom side. Solokill can't even match. I mean, neither can Doinb, just TP'd back in. I think this can be a 2v2 here.
Yeah, he's going to try to use some of the CC chaining. Leave, going to dodge out, misses the spell shield. In the end, goes for the flash, gets hit through the minion there by Gury. It'll be a 1-for-1 trade, though.
I don't care. I mean, like, Leave, doesn't matter that he doesn't get the spell shield there. A good Tangle Barbs coming in from Niket stops Gury from walking forward. Double Summoner spells traded by both of our AD carries. And all in all, I think an okay trade going in favor of NIP. There's a cold now being taken by this Sivir, and for this bottom lane in particular, the Vikings do need to get a little bit ahead early, because you get into that mid game, we get to 15 minutes, and Sivir is just going to constantly be shoving waves into this champion.
And we're going to take a look back at this dive and look at little micro adjustments, especially Niket, like you had mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, right here, it has the barrier. Again, doesn't matter really. It's the auto from Gury that ends up finding that kill, but really, really good Tangle Barbs there from Niket. And we need to keep watching, because Niket and Leave had a very tough series to start off their run here. And I want to see more from them, especially from Leave. I've been the biggest Leave fan on the broadcast, so I hate to see him misplay.
Yeah.
I hate to see him walk up on those midways. I thought he had grown a lot during the regular season.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of support here from Niket. Going to be able to play pretty aggressively there. And we'll see if they can get back into gear whatsoever. It is a little bit of early action. Off topic here, and I'm sorry to do it because I'm actually just so interested myself. What Jarvan skin is that? Because it looks so like Final Fantasy boss style. Like I thought it was the. Okay, well we're gonna see the engage. We'll talk about it later. As Leave, unfortunately, he's getting the bad end of the bark here from Shogun, who will have to back away, but Shulong is gonna try to chase him down. Just needs a couple auto attacks here. Gonna get the flash play from Gury. He gets the beautiful mechanical outplay onto the bot lane of NIP. Now Shulong will go down to Niket. And I do wonder if they're going to try to follow through. It doesn't look like it.
I don't know, actually.
Dude, right? I've never seen that skin. It looks crazy.
Well, now I'm just going to go to the Jarvan skin. Is this the new Jarvan skin one?
I'm wondering if it's the Chroma, Jarvan? Right? No, Maybe. It's definitely not, right? Okay, they're going to get the flash play. No. My eyes, bro. Okay, well, Gury was able to connect his flash play. Unfortunately, Naiyou was not.
Is this Nightbringer Jarvan? I think it is. No.
Vision? Is it a chroma for Visions of the Fall or whatever? The new one, maybe.
I think it. Yeah. Okay. Nice.
Dude. Okay. Well, I'm gonna go buy that skin right after this because that thing is awesome. It literally looks like Sephiroth, kind of.
If we have any Final Fantasy 14 players, it looks like Estinian. It looks like our Dragoons.
Okay. Yeah. You're right.
Okay, I mean,
anyways.
NIP still got the feats of warfare at least. I think a good response there from the Vikings. Leave going down twice now early on is a little problematic. It is opening up a 15 CS lead.
Which is nothing to scoff at in the end. I do want to check in, though, because we had a little bit of stop-off for Doinb. He did end up going for the boots early. Even though he does have that little bit of a CS advantage there, he did end up going for a little bit more of a defensive option just in case. When we take a look at the map states, we have had some map rotations from both teams.
Yeah. Let's see how much more we're going to be able to get out from this, because Grubs spawn in 30 seconds. We talked about the thing that Sivir is going to be the best at in every single competitive game is maintaining priority versus the enemy champions. Boomerang Blades plus her Q deletes the minion wave and allows for you to move. Now Doinb gets to take it a huge wave in bottom side. I see pings on a dragon. I think they just want to ignore this and try to get themselves at least a little bit of a play, but you still have Realm Warp. You can always make these movements.
Yeah, that's the mobility that the Rise brings, and that's what Kati was trying to answer with a little bit on the Aurora. But I will say Kati being sequestered off to the side lane against Solokill. We do have the grubs up that NIP are eyeing right this very second. Looks like there could be some possible moves from Viking, but they are just going to give the trade and go for the dragon.
Yep, Gury's on the opposite side of the map. Also, Kratos doesn't have the timer to move. Now, are we going to see NIP make a play off the back of this? Because Aurora is topside, and if she shows a little too far up, there's a possibility for them to still use this Realm Warp. I really love when we get to see Rises in-game that try to push the pace, and especially when you have this semi-global ability, it means that you can kind of cheat timers around the map. Niket, he is level 6 here.
Oh. You're going to bring the Realm Warp over. The Tangle Barb did connect Naiyou, just waiting for his angle. They're going to get the TP coming in, and Kati still dies through the Cataclysm, goes over to Doinb, who will end up falling over to Shogun. Now that's just called dominoes, I guess, and that's going to be an even trade in the top side, but the TP did get burned.
Yeah, so Solokill gets an objective lead here. It's going to be Gury who's going to cover this wave. Maybe they find Shulong.
Shulong. You chose the wrong side of the tracks here to walk across, and Niket will find him. Now Solokill's going down, and oh my god, it is absolute chaos. Although with the Dominus, Solokill's doing some work into Gury. He will not end up surviving. Kati will come in with the TP and get the kill.
I just love that I was talking about how much I like a lot of Rise ultimates, and I see Doinb probably pull off one of the worst ones. Like, we're pulling the minions away from the turret.
The idea was good, though. But, like, as soon as you see the Realm Warp come through, like, he's not going to keep walking. He's gonna turn back to the turret.
We've already seen a really good Realm Warp into Pop Blossom combo, and that was during our playoffs. So I feel like we've been spoiled a little bit here. And across the board, I think the Vikings are making really good headway. Got the first dragon in this game. That's one way to keep them in terms of scaling. Side laning was always going to be an issue in this game with the solo lanes that NIP have, but they were able to kill Solokill on the bottom lane, and they were able to find at least Doinb in his flash. So I think all in all, NIP are making a fair too many mistakes here to feel comfortable.
Sulong almost makes another mistake. I gotta say, I know there's been some question marks already, but I love the blood. I love the action. It's always fun. Also, just going to shout out, I don't know if Leave, okay, he doesn't have the smile on. That man was rocking like the most creepy, like half smile for just like frozen face for like the last minute and a half. They just like left it on his camera. But he's back to normal now, so it's all good.
That's good. All right.
Oh,
Gury's
they're going back bot.
on this wave. Niket is going to get spotted. Places this down for himself. They have to know there's no way that Niket is, or there's no way that Leave is hitting both the mid wave and this minion. So, going further in this game, Dragon spawns in 2.5, and especially when we talk about the scaling here, I think that Vikings have a lot of ways to be able to play this if they can continue to contest dragons.
We're going to see Vikings try to take this fight on the bot side. It is outnumbered. It will eventually be evened up there, but it won't be much more than just a bit of a mini engage, and we don't have another objective for a while, so it is just Viking Esports looking for in-between fights, which I think does them good. I think it's a composition that you really want to be trying to use some of these combinations together, as Doinb going to use his speed combo from the TP to try to take down Kati. Won't get too much of it.
Not bad though. I mean, he's going to be able to clear this wave. Kati almost level 10. Pretty important, I think, for what is going to be the third dragon fight of this game. If he can get a second point in his ultimate, it's pretty good. Doinb gets a push in another wave. They have Nico following on this as well. They want to see if they can open up this side of the map, get a reset in, maybe get a little bit of gold for their team. I mean, they do have 3 grubs, and you have a minute and a half before flates are about to fall, so let's try to focus in and get ourselves gold for these fights.
Try to unlock some of this item potential coming through. I mean, both junglers having this 100 Sky already is really good, although mid lane, Leave going to be in a lot of trouble now. A couple rockets to the back, but he will be followed through. In the end, Naiyou comes up to try to back everybody off, and it does end up doing its job here. So still a pretty even state. Even though we had all that blood, all that action early, it's calmed down until this next objective comes up in about 50 seconds.
Yeah, now everybody is at least past level 7, so they have a fair amount of HP in on their champion. And it makes it a lot more difficult for either team to find kills early on. It is going to be Doinb still just sitting on this bottom side. I wonder how close he is to finishing his Rod of Ages, because still has Blasting Wand that he needs to buy. Still obviously the completion, and he also has his tier almost or over the halfway mark on its stacks. So Doinb is already doing pretty good for himself and has an individual lead as well. So I wonder, are we going to fight for this as NIP? I see that Naiyou's on the top side. We don't have an objective to play for. Maybe there is a play with a Realm Warp potential, but I think it's mostly based on our mid-jungle here for our LPL representative.
And do we not have any reservation, any worry about the super late Roa being completed here? I mean, it is a scaling composition like we talked about for NIP, but they're definitely opting into that with that completion coming so late.
I think it's fine. Like, NIP are okay if this game goes late. Like, getting items on your champions, even Renekton on 3 and 4 can be pretty dangerous this game. We're going to see NIP try to walk into the Dragon Pit. We're very close to level 11. If she can get 1 kill, maybe that's enough experience to be a game breaker.
All right, Gury trying to get this one under tow here. Naiyou's in the pit, and it goes over to Shogun in the end, too. So Gury's in a little bit of trouble. He's going to try to get on the other side, and Niket gets a beautiful pop blossom there. Buys a lot of time. Doinb can't get the damage onto Gury. Now they've already lost Naiyou, and they're going to lose a little bit more. Kratos has found an angle onto the back line here, but they go right back in. Solokill gets a kill in the end, gets knocked back by Gury. And here comes the world-ending Kratos trying to find Leave. Doesn't end up finding the Q2, and will back away. So a little bit of blood spill, but the dragon going over to the Vikings.
I mean, look, cool. Gury ended up getting it. That's 2 dragons going over to MGN Vikings, and a very, very important team fight win versus NIP. I mean, you look at Doinb, he has to rise over this wall. Where is the rest of the engage coming in from the ninjas in pajamas? Okay, so we put it onto Gury. we caught Shogun and Kati, but Leave can't enter into this fight. Kratos is making space for the rest of the team. So is the Aurora. She popped an ultimate right there in the middle of that fight. So I don't understand really how NIP were willing to kind of jump into this. I feel like you are willing to give up this dragon if you can maybe get some more side lanes. I mean, you have 2 turrets that are about to fall. You take it now, but you've already lost the fight, and you're going to be down resources for this objective. You can see now the Vikings are just going to start up the Rift Herald.
Yeah, I mean, I will say NIP did just pull the flash of Akati in the bot side, but I don't know if that's going to be much of a payment back after the Rift Herald goes down, although Naiyou, looking for his own angle, tries to get the flag and drag combo. We'll miss another one as the Rift Herald does go over to Vikings. The re-engage isn't really there. Niket's going to go completely wide. Actually, the TP beautifully enables Leave to get the kill there. They do get the lockdown with the Pop Blossom. Gury coming over the wall to stop the advance of NIP, and here comes Kratos. He's going to pop that World Ender and try to be this frontline, but he's not going to be frontline for very long. They are ripping and tearing through him as the Vikings are pushed back. The retreat in full force as NIP step up.
All right. So Pop Blossom, the second part of the Pop Blossom is the stun, the actual stun of the ability, the knock-up, and then you get crowd controlled there. The very end. The timing on that for Kati, unfortunately, loses his bottom lane wave and his turret. TP's in and dies immediately after losing his flash on the play beforehand. So not the greatest start here for the mid laner of the MGN Vikings, as Doinb opens up a pretty massive CS lead as we've seen for parts of this game. And that's the first real team fight win we have gone out from Ninjas of Pyjamas. As we take a look at this replay, Gury still got the Rift Herald. I think that's probably the most important win there for this team. But it's just the extended nature. Like, look at Shulov. He's already half HP. Shogun is not there, and he loses his flash. I feel like at this point, we just have to leave it. And wait, I didn't even notice this. Gury summoned the Rift Herald.
Yeah.
What?
Yep.
So it got a crash in mid,
great.
but it's like, it's pretty useless afterwards.
Yeah, a couple of little things going wrong there. I mean, I got to say, the TP there right in the front when you have a TP in the back of the Baron pit available to you and your Aurora so you can jump over the wall, that feels a little bit bad. But hey, it is what it is, and now NIP will be very happy about that because they're about 3,000 gold up now, and that's something to build off of for sure with a scaling comp that we talked about so often.
They don't have vision. All of their wards from the side of Ninjas of Pyjamas are situated in the top side. Naiyou has a pretty disgusting flank here. I don't think they're going to be able to find Gury. Maybe it is.
Okay, they got the Gury set up. They do end up finding him in the end, so that'll be a big pick off. And 4,000 gold now, ballooning that lead even more as they're going to take more of the jungle away from the Vikings.
It might only be a kill, and Otacon spawns on the bottom side of the map, but this allows for NIP to get time to move their vision and move a lot of their resources down into the bottom side to set up for this objective. Dragon also spawns in 45, so feels like the winners of this next fight might have a bit of a tougher time walking into this next objective as well. Need to see what the Vikings can do because they started off so strong, but now it's been back-to-back topside plays that have not worked out for them.
And that's a little bit troublesome for sure, as the game plan maybe not going as expected here. But I do expect the objectives to be the ultimate focus from both, especially with Vikings. Only one dragon away from that soul point, the decision-making power that we always love on the Rift. And that's about 10 seconds away. About a minute for the Atacon as well.
Just talk about the difference in experience between our two mid laners here. Like,
It's
Kati
massive.
joined the the VCS in 2020 summer, or in 2020 spring. Wasn't able to promote into the league, but I mean, versus a player like Doinb, we're seeing the map movements of this player generate a pretty decent lead for himself. See that now, the Vikings are trying to force their way in through mid, try to make something out of a very early Rift Herald that we saw from him.
Oh, it's going to be a double TP with the Realm Warp. They're going to get the Pop Blossom combo there, and the Flag and Drag comes through in the end to follow through. They do end up getting the flash out of Solokill as well, so Vikings do get the outer turret. They will give over a kill for it. They also get the flash, so I don't know. It's a little bit of tradesies here.
I'm okay with that because they get control of mid lane now. They're also going to get some time for their team members to get some resets in, get back out onto the map. As long as they can fix their side lanes, you look at the Otacon that's going to be up, it has been a big point of contention all year long that we've had this objective. I think now Niket not having the flash is going to potentially be a make or break. I talked about the Dragon being a potential loser for the next fight. This is what I'm talking about now, and NIP really didn't get much off of that play.
Yeah, exactly. Although they will still be in a pretty monumental lead, we also do have 2 items coming up for multiple members on the side of NIP already, which is going to feel really good coming in these next fights. If Atacon wants to be a contested nature, or if they want to try to go for that one, force the hand of the Vikings. But you can definitely feel a little bit more confidence as NIP step back out of the rift.
Trying to look for Sulong. This is going to be an angle for them, so no flash now on the Karma, but no Cataclysm for NIP. They don't have to start this objective up. A lot of teams usually get stuck in the trap of having to start this objective. They're going to try and go for it. They got to push in on mid, but can the rest of the team actually connect with them? As you see, the Vikings are trying to fish.
Yeah, you can tell it's a little bit hesitant from the Vikings. They don't really know where everybody is walking into this one. Now they realize that the Atacon has started. It's already almost down, though, and he's going to try to get into the pit. Gury cannot, though. He's immediately CC'd, stunned, and that will be the Atacon going NIP. Niket with a big pop blossom on the back end here, trying to get as much work done as he can, but I think we might just see another one of those classic Atacon plays as NIP are losing their health bars here left and right. Here comes the world-ending Kratos, but he's not going to get the kill in the reset there. He's going to lose his wings, and now Vikings, they're in some trouble. The flash play from Naiyou finally connects, and now Leave is ripping them apart, though. Kratos tries to go in, tries to get some healing down. Gury is on the back line here now, but they're split focused, and NIP were not. They are dialed in on who they need to target, and it's a triple kill for Doinb.
Oh, the Thornbound Otacon explosions might have been what changes the game here for NIP. A very tense fight being played out between our two teams, and just barely, I think, are NIP able to find the victory, and now they can just completely control the map. We didn't get to see the Vikings really dominate in the side lanes. They didn't push them out beforehand, so they lose out on a mid-wave. They then lose out on the fight. We take a look back at this replay, and I feel I kind of maybe would have wanted to see Gury just send the ultimate in, make himself unstoppable, and get into the pit, get into a smite fight versus Naiyou. And the back half of this kind of looks good for them, right? Like, you have a lot of damage set up. Shogun has the flash, unfortunately is too late to avoid out on the knock-up. If that happens, I think that we could potentially be seeing a completely different fight here for the LCP.
And I'm just going to say Kratos' #1 enemy from here on out has got to be Doinb. Multiple of his Q dashes stopped by the Rune Prison in that fight. Just unable to connect on big 3-man Q2s. It's actually incredible. And Doinb now sitting at 6-1. Very, very far ahead on this rise. And I love to see the general of NIP stepping up in this series.
There we go. Need to see a little bit more out from NIP. It is a 7,000 gold lead, so an overwhelming advantage for this team. They don't have eyes on Kratos quite yet. They're also seeing right now that Solokill's trying to pressure on this bottom side, stop Kati from getting a TP in, and good control coming on through from NIP as Baron does spawn in a minute and a half, and you have another Dragon in 45. There we go! God
all the way
is
on
just showing
NIP's
up.
side now.
Remember,
he fell.
For our Grasshopper, he is never wrong. He's either correct or he's lying. So
yep, he's just got to keep you on your toes. As so far so good for NIP. Although it was a little bit dicey earlier on in the game, they were definitely succumbing to the fight all the time action that was happening. But now they've been much more reserved, and we do see 3 items completed for Leave.
Yeah. Plus the Navori Flicker Blade, so should have a lot of uptime.
Okay, well, Naiyou just says, I can go whenever I want now, as they're just going to try to all in, but he gets taken down by Shogun, and now they've overextended themselves. Leave is just trying to go for the ricochet kills and can't get anybody.
Doinb, can Doinb get something done here? He
He's
doesn't
weaving
have phase rush available.
Serpentine. It's fast.
All right. Solo kills here. This shouldn't be the Dragon going over to the Vikings, but 20 seconds. They need to get a reset in. There is Leave stepping up a little too far. Naiyou also thought they were able to find that kill onto Sulong. Isn't able to make it happen. That is the good punish there from the side of NIP, but we see that the Vikings do have a way of clapping back.
And I think that just primarily showed off the power of Sulong on the Karma, because you can shield and heal so much out of that, especially he burned the Summoner Spell heal. But that's exactly what they want to do with that Karma, is like take a lot of the brunt so that the rest of the damage is fine. And it was really nicely executed from the Vikings, even though they are so far down. We do have those objectives coming up, Alk, and we'll see if NIP can get a second dragon in a row for themselves.
You need to see the solo lanes of Vikings connect to the game. I haven't really felt Kati's presence so far, and I talked about that Aatrox could be pretty threatening, but I mean, just look at the advantages being generated by Solokill and Doinb. They're really trying to stand head and shoulders above their counterparts in this game. And Kratos, outside of that first fight that we really saw him pop off, hasn't done much. So this is going to be a second dragon going over to the Ninjas.
Yeah, almost 60 CS there, 50 hovering around for Doinb, and about 40 there for Solokill as well. It's going to be something to think about as we move forward, because that lead is not going to be any easier to come back from the Vikings, although it is down to about 6,000 now. Still pretty hefty for a scaling comp that we've talked so much about for NIP. So the Vikings going to set up. The Dragon had already gone over. The Baron is now the play. Naiyou, a little bit overextended, doesn't have the rest of his team around him. Luckily, he can play a little bit finicky as they're going to send the Niket. No! Niket missed the Realm Warp. Oh, my God.
This is twice now. This is the second time we've tried to see them make this combo. The first time, Niket was late on it, and so he did it when he came out of it. This time, Niket, he probably just right-clicked his way outside of it. The way that it is coded is if you put an input command outside of the Realm Warp and you are still in it, you will not go in. It's an anti-griefing piece of tech, so you don't have Rise players try to grief your team. But Niket, brother, we can't be doing that. I mean, he's almost level 11. He'll have a second point in his Pop Blossom soon enough, and it is a pretty short cooldown here. There's nothing really to play for from the side of NIP, so for the time being, we're all just going to forget that that happened for right now.
Vikings aren't going to forget, though. They are like elephants. As I don't know how Vikings and elephants are correlated, but maybe we find that out later, as we'll see exactly NIP moving to this mid lane push, but they realize something could be amiss, as they have not seen Gury in a while, and that is the key engage for the Vikings.
Good vision toggle from our observers. Naiyou's going to now spot him coming over this wall.
Too late.
Let's go over to Gury. So we'll have his respawned Raptors as a nice little bit of a treat. Maybe Gury could finish a third item before this dragon spawns. But I just look at the items on NIP side. Like,
it's
3 items
terrifying.
we noted for Leave, 3 item here for Doinb. And Niket has the Pop Blossom again. Doesn't end up making a play with the minions there, but we're going to see NIP continue their stranglehold on this game and try to move their vision around the map.
You can tell they know how much power they have, because they're just kind of flexing it around. Naiyou going to be the target here. They're going to try to burn him down. They get him. The big 3-man Pop Blossom, though, Doinb coming over the side, untouched, unkillable, and Solokill gets his own kill now. The Realm Warp's going to come in, sending Doinb to the back line, but it doesn't matter because they have pincer maneuvered too long, and Kratos finds himself completely detached from his team. NIP find another big fight, just utilizing this advantage they have, but they don't have Naiyou, so they can't get much on in terms of objectives.
Are they going to start up this Baron? I mean, they know that Gury and Shogun are dead. Looks like they're just going to try and take control of this area, clear out any vision. They have a top side pushing. Maybe they can get an item or a component finished here for the Ninjas. Very aggressive look there. And Naiyou, you only have HP, brother. You have upgraded Merc Tread boots, but that's only useful versus the Aurora. Everybody else is either doing true damage if you are this Corki, or just straight up armor, or attack damage, I should mention. So he is rather squishy in this fight. As we take a look at Naiyou, I don't really see the vision here. Again, none of your damage dealers are in the area. You have to have Doinb flash for this play. It ends up being that Solokill can follow afterwards, but this could have been
a couple times.
Yeah, this could have been a lot worse here from NIP if this game was a bit more even from our two teams.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I will just say, that's like the third time that Naiyou has kind of gone for those extensive plays and been a little bit punished. But that time he actually does come away with a death from it. As we do see the Vikings resetting back out onto the map. We have about a minute 15 seconds for that next dragon. It would be soul point for either side, although we have seen NIP completely control the last 2 in a row. Still about 7,000 gold in the lead for them as well.
This is the tough part. We haven't seen the Vikings really play on their side lanes all that much. We're gonna keep talking about it because mid lane's kind of a wash because of this Sivir, but if we're never gonna push these out, mostly because we also have top lane that this top tier one isn't doing very well, it's pretty tough for the Vikings to move their vision line forward. They're losing more ground on the Summoner's Rift, and with all these jungle camps going the wayside, there's a huge experience differential being opened up here for NIP, who also have a lot of petals thanks to the Otacon.
Yeah, that's another big underlying factor to all of this as well. Not only those gigantic CS differentials in the one-on-one matchups, especially in those solo lanes, but a lot of the permanent objective control that NIP have gained over these last couple fights as well. And just saying, 4th item for leave, so that's going to be feeling really good. I think we've hit the Sivir breakpoint, but obviously he's going to feel even better once he gets all the way through. Gury going to look for a bit of a flank play here.
Can he go for anything, though? We see that Naiyou on the map.
Spotted.
Going to his wolves. Leave is just going to solo this dragon. I love this from NIP. Try to split the map on your opponents. Just take this objective. I don't think that the Vikings can ever really play. There's still a top wave they haven't answered. Still a bottom wave. The map is in disrepair here for MGN Vikings. And they can't even get a team fight to start. So, like, what are we doing? They're just running around.
Yeah.
They're getting cardio done.
I feel like we're really seeing, and maybe I'm reading too much into it, but we're really seeing the power of J4. Right, like it is just a constant threat, and even if you're throwing your body on the line here, that we've seen Naiyou do a couple times, like the impact you have outside of that is just so incredibly ridiculous. So I love to see it, and at least we know that this kind of composition fits to a T for NIP right now.
I think in general I would agree with you. This is probably the worst game for a Jarvan if you think about how much mobility all of these champions have.
Exactly.
But I think the general prescription is fine here. Doinb is looking off into the wings, just stole a Wolves camp away from Gury, goes right back to the bottom side, and remember, he can always join, he can just use his Realm Warp, also has his teleport available to him, so the Vikings are always going to kind of play second fiddle. It feels like they're doing a lot of reacting to their opponents and not a lot of proactive gameplay setup here.
Definitely feels that way, as we're going to see them try to be a little proactive into their own jungle. They're going to spot out the Baron not being started. They will lose vision quickly. All right, Realm Warp coming in. Using it for vision, trying to take out Sulong, but he will use the heal to get the extra speed away from the Cataclysm. They're going to go right under the turret, though. Kratos immediately flashes, realizing he was in a very troublesome situation as the Tier 2 tower goes down.
Are they going to go for mid-tier 2 as well? I mean, they've got Sivir bouncing waves in between. It looks like they're going to maybe start this one up. Naiyou's looking.
Naiyou's alive this time, so they should be fine.
All right, okay. We're getting a teleport in here from Kati.
Oh, they just absolutely baited the Vikings as another Pop Blossom goes wide from Niket. That feels a little bit bad, but Shogun unfortunately got caught out and gets flashed on by Naiyou. There goes the Between Worlds from Kati. It's Solokill over the top. Goes with the slice and dice and is absolutely slicing through the Vikings. There will be no Ragnarok, at least today. And that should just be NIP closing out game number 1.
Yeah, they got a mid wave and they've got a top wave if they really need it. NIP just looks so dominant after the 10-minute mark. It felt like the Vikings just couldn't get control of these solo lanes. Solokill and Doinb being such huge pieces for the Ninjas in Pyjamas.
Yeah, the solo lanes showing out. And some rough situations for Naiyou and Niket for sure, but that is why when we came into this series, especially the Doinb point, we needed him to kind of bolster the lines, and he was able to do so on the rise.
All right, this does mean that the LPL will not be winless versus the LCP tonight.
True.
So, NIP...
You're holding on.
This is why I was a bigger fan of NIP than JDG all year long.
Thank you. Thank you, Grasshopper. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Well, no, that Grasshopper was originally Vikings, remember?
No. Revisionist history here. He was always on NIP's side.
No, I think it's even better that he picked Vikings and then changed his mind halfway through the game. He knew
realized
what the assignment was. God would never do us wrong. Just wanted to give hope over to the LCP. Maybe it was feeling a little bit of that momentum from
Yeah,
the
yeah.
series
It's like
prior.
I'm buying in. I'm a Series 1 Andy. It's the new thing. Leave doing a lot of damage, but I do not think this game was about Leave. It was absolutely about the top trio there, specifically the solo laners. I got to give a little shout out to Naiyou, though. He had a lot of impact, even if some of it wasn't that great. But you do see the power of the Jarvan nonetheless, even in a tough matchup.
I think Naiyou and Leave had a lot of impact in this game. Positive or negative, you can leave that in the Twitch chat. But
yeah.
For
never know.
Doinb and Solokill, like part of the reason I think that we saw this MGN Viking Esports team lose last night versus Nongshim was kind of the solo lanes. Like Kingin was bodying Kratos all series long, and Calyx individually, especially in that LeBlanc game, there weren't very many angles as LeBlanc versus Malzahar, but eventually kind of took matters into his own hands. And another point that we saw throughout that series was side laning. So playing the map is not their strong suit.
Yeah, and some of the execution not their strong suit either. I think on both sides of the ball this time around.
Yeah.
But hey, we're giving them the benefit of the doubt as we have all tournament long here. Still, I go back to your point of saying that for a comp that wanted to be proactive, that wanted to find things to do, it was very reactive, like the entire game long from the Vikings.
I just think Kati was an invisible player on this game. Like, we did not see this Aurora do all that much. It is a little bit tough considering how much HP the opponents have, and did end up going like the Rift or the Leandries and like Riftmaker build. So you're kind of scaling, but that means that Aurora doesn't have a ton of AP, so you kind of take out a little bit of the bite as part of that bark. And also Kratos, you are a team with Vi, Aatrox, and a Karma. Like, I think this trio should be very dominant in mid-game fights, and I think we got to see glimpses of it. But unfortunately, they were either too far behind, or they just didn't position well in fights to give them the angle. And that makes it impossible for this Vikings team to really get the ball rolling.
And I think Doinb will now be Kratos' Zeus. Because, again, so many times in that match, in that game, where Doinb was just locking him down at like the most annoying times when he's trying to get combos off, which is absolutely incredible. And you get to see Solokill running rampant through the back line here. And this was not one, but multiple iterations of this kind of fight. This was the one where, things went a little bit awry for NIP. They still burned a lot of summoners there, but it was a microcosm of what they continuously try to do, and this was the end of the game.
I'm trying to look. I think Aragon had a really funny tweet about, like, he was really excited that there's a player like Kratos playing, but we had Hades, who was a player that played in Europe. We used to have Athena, but they obviously retired.
Congratulations, Doinb.
There we go.
For a guy with multiple trilogy AAA video games, I thought he would have more of a spotlight on him. I'm not gonna lie.
Unfortunately, no.
Did you know he has a kid?
I know Doinb does. He might have a second one considering how he was sunning Kati.
Well, that's going to be it for our game number 1 of our second series. Doinb gets the MVP for that one. We'll see if the Vikings can put up a little bit more of a fight and get their longboats in order here, or if NIP will take a 2-0. We'll see on the other side of this break.